Civilization 7 has problems. From the frustratingly basic UI to the sometimes brain-dead AI, there is a lot to complain about. But I think there's one missing feature, a feature included in every prior Civilization game that's been overlooked, yet summarizes the deeper gameplay issues that face the game. The problem is Earth, or rather the lack of it. Earth maps have been a staple of the series since the very first Civilization. They provide a familiar foundation, letting players rewrite history on a stage that feels grounded. Whether you're leading Rome to global domination or seeing what happens when Japan colonizes the Americas, the Earth map has always offered a unique kind of historical what-if. But Civilization 7 does not have one, and it's not an accident. It is a direct result of the game's most deeply rooted change, the new era system. Now technically, eras are not brand new to Civilization, but Civilization 7 goes much deeper on this idea. The game is now divided into 3 acts: Antiquity, Exploration, and Modern. At the end of an era, most of your units are wiped out, cities outside your capital are downgraded to towns, and diplomatic relations reset. You also pick a new civilization. Only your leader remains the same. Now I get the intent of the system. It's meant to shake up the late game, keep things fresh, stop players from snowballing their way to victory, or defeat, as the case may be. But it doesn't really work. Strong players stay strong even after the era shift. Cities don't move, commanders persist, and you gain bonuses from doing well in an era. So if you're leading in one era, you're still a favorite to lead in the next, and ultimately the era system is successful at just one thing. It totally breaks Civilization's map design. Now, a normal game of Civilization 7 starts in Antiquity, where players can only explore coastal ocean tiles, and then that changes in the Exploration era when you're finally given the chance to discover new lands with new resources not available on your home continent. But that means the game must provide undiscovered islands and continents that become accessible as the players progress, and to keep things fair, the new lands need to be roughly equidistant from all starting continents, with the resources more or less spread evenly. The Earth map, of course, does not fit that concept. The geography of Earth is not meant to be balanced. Some players would start closer to distant lands for expansion than others, providing quicker access to the resources they need to score in the exploration age. And if you were hoping to play a landlocked civilization, or one that starts on an island, well, you're kind of out of luck. Some of these civilizations do exist in the game, but they will usually start on a continent near an ocean, just like everyone else. And of course, they are still very much encouraged to colonize distant lands. And it's not just the Earth map type that was ditched. The overall range of map types is greatly reduced, removing anything remotely Earth-like from the game. So Civilization 7's maps look strangely uniform. Players have mocked them, rightfully so. They feel artificial, more like a board game layout, or something out of Animal Crossing. Now, the missing Earth map is not the game's only problem, of course, but it's a perfect example of how Civilization 7's new gameplay ideas ripple throughout the game and fundamentally change a franchise with 30 years of history. Strengths now feel like weaknesses. The tech trees, cut into thirds, feel small and uninteresting. City-states are less functional than before, and your relations with them reset with each era. And of course, the big new idea is swapping civilizations with each era, picking a new one that's deemed appropriate for that era, which I think cuts to the true root of the issue. For many players, Civilization is not enjoyable because it's perfectly balanced or paced. It's enjoyable as a quasi-historical simulation, or even, if you will, a sort of grand strategy role-playing game. Players want to see what happens if Brazil conquered the world. They want to form their own stories about that time America and Rome got into a nuclear war. The absurdity, the strangeness, the oddity of it is the entire point. But in Civilization 7, the gameplay design firmly puts up a hand and says no, stop having fun. You'll have a well-balanced, perfectly paced experience, or you will have nothing at all. And so, of course, that means the Earth map gets the boot. And here's my biggest concern. It's very hard to see how Firaxis will fix this. Now, the company does have an incredible reputation for supporting its games, and I think overall they're a great studio. The fact that this game doesn't seem very good doesn't really change my opinion on that. Everyone has a miss now and then. Civilization 5, Civilization 6, and Civilization 4, they all received a lot of support and great expansions. The DLC plans were controversial for 5 and 6, but I feel like there was a lot of value there. However, there's a difference between tacking on features and rewriting core gameplay systems, and that's where the era system is very, very core to Civilization 7's gameplay. If it was removed, Firaxis may as well be working on Civilization 8 at that point, right? With that said, I think the era system is so bad and so counter to the heart of the franchise that I would not actually be surprised if it gets ripped out like a rotten tooth. It could happen, but if it does, it's going to be messy. Now, this is a dismal outlook, I know, but it also provides a bit of advice to Firaxis or anyone else looking to make a pseudo-historical strategy game or a grand strategy 4X style game of any type. Try it with an Earth map, and if it doesn't work, take a step back. You might be overthinking the game's design. You might misunderstand what the players liked about your game in the first place. And look, just to be clear, I'm not trying to throw too much shade at the game designers because game design is hard. Like I said, everyone makes a mistake now and then. And of course, this is just like my opinion, man. So what do you think? I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Earth map specifically. Do you agree it's as important as I think it is? Or are you willing to ditch the Earth map if it means a slicker, smoother, better balanced Civilization game? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.